Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel. That over there is at Mr. Jared Moore. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. No need for a concealed permit for those guns he's showing. They are out there, my friend. You don't need that there. That's for sure.
Well, you know what they say, sun's out, guns out. And it's not often the sun is out in the middle of January in New York. So while it is, we're going to try to enjoy it a little bit, even though it's only 30
been a lot of
degrees.
snow there recently, huh?
There was snow yesterday when I was driving up to Monticello, and it was coming down pretty hard, but at one point, but it didn't really stick. It was a little too warm for it to stick. So that's what we like to see. I don't mind the snow when it's a little warm outside and it's not enough to quite accumulate. But once it starts becoming an inconvenience, that's when I'm like, yeah, I've had enough of this.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's nice scenery. We'll be taking a family trip up to the snow sometime in February, which will be nice because it's nice to go visit it and then come back to no snow. But we got a lot of things. It's a bread and butter episode today for us. We're going to be doing football. We're going to be doing hockey. As you see, Jared's got a New Jersey Devils banner in the background there with their championships. Haven't been great times in Newark lately. If you haven't been paying attention, Jared's going to have thoughts on that later.
Yeah, I might have to light that on fire. Preferably not while it's still hanging there. I might have to take it outside and light it on fire.
Yeah,
like
well ventilated, bucket of water right next door, like right near it. Like a fire extinguisher. Can't be too careful when you're playing with fire, literally. Then we're gonna do we'll talk wild card weekend. We'll do divisional picks. Get to all that here, but we do always do that over some packs of cards. But let's see what we got today. Jared's gonna be in the leadoff spot. What'd you bring to the table today?
Oh, well, we made a trip to Toy Wiz this weekend to pick up some new packs and to replenish the stock. And we got some the 2024 Zenith football Panini cards. So you see the rookies on the screen there. Mostly last year's, star set of rookie quarterback class. So should be some pretty good ones in there. Maybe we'll pull like one of those jersey autos as well. Who knows? So we'll see what we come up with.
And I have a question. Well, let me get through my packs, and then I have a Toy Wiz related question. I'll go throwback football today. I got the 95 score football. Some of the rookies you see on the screen. Steve McNair would be a nice one. Tony Baselli, Cordell Stewart, Joey Galloway, also another good one. And you see the inserts at there. And then we're going to get some hockey later. We're going to start with some 2025-26 Upper Deck artifacts. You see the good rookies always come out in Series 2 usually. So, but Artifacts has some good inserts and patches and all that and autographs and all that stuff. So we'll see what we grab there. Now, nice. I am only a Toy Wiz online purchaser. Obviously, I'm at the other end of the country. When you go to buy your packs, like all the packs that are available online, can you just grab them or are they behind a counter? Like, how does that work?
So they keep like the sports cards, they keep them all behind like the glass and whatnot. So like there's there's the glass counter where they have like some of the loosies and they have some packs in there, like some of like the higher end packs, the stuff that we can't afford to do on this show. And then on the shelves behind it, they have like all the different boxes and whatnot. And like, it's a pretty cool store in general because like if you're into like nerdy stuff and collectibles, like comic books and stuff like that, like you have all the sports cards there, and then off to the right, you have like all these like Marvel statues and stuff like that, and like different like Marvel action figures, WWE figures, and DC Comics and like all that sort of stuff. They also have they have all sorts of other cards too, like Magic the Gathering. Like behind the main counter is where they keep like all of like the tabletop games. So like Magic, the Pokemon cards, all that various stuff that that's a different generation than me. I'm not really into any of that stuff. So that's for the kids these days, I would say.
You know what's becoming a more of a card spot for me besides hobby shops is Big Five, which is basically like a West Coast Models would be the best way I could describe it.
So yeah, you gotta go to Moe's.
Gotta go to Moe's. Great. One of the better slogans. Yeah, we'll have to do like a slogan series one day.
Them, nobody beats the Wiz. Like, we'll put them all on. We'll make a ranking one day.
We'll go back, at least the ones we grew up with in the New York tri-state area. But we're here to rip packs of cards. Without further ado, let's get to our leadoff pack. All right. So we are in. This is something I was thinking before the show. I haven't even.
Oh, tell me if you're thinking the same thing.
Okay. Well, I was going to say that this is the last good week of football for the year, but what is yours?
No, I was thinking when you play that video for that image, I always laugh because there's that one seat that's missing.
I mean, hey, sometimes the stadium's in disrepair. I mean, the budget's limited here at Rip N Riff, so we had to use. I think that was like I think that's the Oakland Coliseum that we use in that one. Which besides the Oakland Roots soccer team, I don't know what else goes on at that stadium now.
Oh, geez, who knows? All right, let me rip one of these packs. I went to pre-rip all these packs, but it turns out they were all easy to rip anyway. So who the heck cares? So we start ourselves here with receiver for the New England Patriots, Pop Douglas there, and the Patriots. Very impressive win on Sunday Night Football. Thanks, I would say mostly in large parts of their defense getting after Justin Herbert. And I'm going to go my yearly Justin Herbert diatribe. Is there a quarterback, a star quarterback, who has escaped criticism more than Justin Herbert for never winning a big game ever in his life?
So the previous two playoff games, I will put on him. Last night, he took a freaking beating. And
Yeah, I know that offensive line stinks,
and that's the thing. It's funny. We're basically like doing a segment of Dustin Sweetelson's show last night right now. Yes, like Justin Herbert, it's been his fault, but I mean, what quarterback behind that pressure is going to excel last night? You know what I mean? So I think the argument is valid, but last night is shouldn't be the stake of the argument. That's more of like the garnish of the argument.
You say garnish, and all I can think about now is like a parsley sprig.
That's what it'll be. He's the parsley. In the argument that Justin Herbert doesn't get criticized for not ever taking that step, the Jaguars playoff game, the Texans playoff game where he threw 4 interceptions. Yeah, okay. Not last night. Last night was just.
Speaking of quarterbacks who have a history of not being good behind certain offensive lines, we have Daniel Jones here.
It'll be interesting to see what the Colts do in the offseason. I know Shane Steichen is safe, as he should be, because the fact that he got Riley Leonard to hang with the Texans, and I know they pulled their starters once they realized the Jaguars weren't going to lose. The fact that they showed up on the road and even gave the Texans something to sweat about, that's a huge deal right there to me, the Colts.
Yeah, it's almost like they didn't need to waste their time with Philip Rivers at 44 years old, but here we are. And we finished this pack with a couple rookies. Unfortunately, I have never heard of either one of these rookies, and that's saying something considering we play in dynasty leagues that are very deep. Anthony Gould with the Colts and Michael Pratt with the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if there's any relation to Chris Pratt there, but I'm going to guess probably not.
Glad you went there because I was going to say something about Chris Pratt. So there we go. Maybe that was his brother when he showed up to visit on Parks and Rec, Matthew Pratt. That's what that was. That's what I think that was.
Yeah. All right. So we go right to pack 2. And we're gonna have to come up with a sound or something. We got a thick boy alert. We got a thick one here.
All right.
So we start. I just want to see which card it is.
That's second week in a row with a thick boy, and maybe 3 out of your last 5 or 6. I want to say.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them lately. So we certainly like that. All right, so we start here with Ray Lewis, legend, Baltimore Ravens, and obviously the Ray Lewis played for John Harbaugh, who obviously was let go and is now number 1 on the coaching list for several teams. Hopefully the Giants wind up landing him, and hopefully the Giants got good news over the weekend when the Dolphins hired John Eric Robinson to be their general manager, and not the guy that he directly worked with. The Dolphins hired him.
Yeah,
I thought I said the Ravens for a second, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I'm going to say that the Dolphins get Chris Shula just because it's, the Don Shula deal. Chris Shula's one of the better coaching candidates out there. That's especially of the coordinator group. So I could see that being a good fit. We'll see.
All right. We have an early nominee for pull of the day before the thick boy. We have a Justin Jefferson Z Marquee Chrome card there. So that's pretty cool there.
That is a nice one. I know it was a down year for Mr. Jefferson, but I mean, look who we had throwing him the ball the entire year. You can make the argument that his best quarterback was Carson Wentz that he played with this year. So
All right, so we're gonna do the reveal here, and we'll see just who we have here. We have a turning pro memorabilia card. So we got a rookie here.
Okay.
And
It
we
looks
have
like a pack. It's a Packer.
Logo.
Is it Matthew Pratt? It's Michael Pratt. It is Michael Pratt.
Oh man, that's funny.
You should start collecting him now, just for the fact that you already have probably the bulk of his collection already.
I would not be surprised if Michael Pratt was already out of the league.
All right. Well, I'm going to go to my one of my trusted, one of my favorite sites, ourlads.com, for NFL depth charts.
Just check like the Packers. But here's the thing: you can check the Packers, and like I don't think he'll be there because like their third quarterback this year was Clayton Tune, apparently, when he started the final game.
They also list the practice squad, so let's see if he's on the. He's not on the roster as a quarterback, and I don't see him on the practice squad. Where is Michael Pratt? Maybe
I don't know. You might have to do a Wikipedia search while you're doing that. Last card in the plaque here, a Javon Bulliard rookie card there. So we actually have a Packers rookie that's noteworthy.
He's a good safety too, Bullard. He is listed as a Buccaneer, I guess. No, he's a free agent. Okay, he I guess he got a cup of coffee with the Bucs. Yeah. So there we go. Good. Love that thick boy there.
I mean, at least he got his money before his money doing the cards and whatnot before he got kicked out of the league. So there you go.
He was the 245th overall pick of the 2024 NFL draft.
Yeah, late 7th round pick. Very close to being Mr. Irrelevant. He's no Brock Purdy, so there you go.
Listen, I know last year in the Bay Area they were saying like he should be the MVP, and I'm like, all right, he's a very good quarterback, and he's your quarterback for a while, but he wasn't the MVP. I know it's Christian McCaffrey, but Purdy's like he's doing it this year too.
Yeah, and you got to give Purdy credit. I mean, since we mentioned him, we could talk about their win over the Eagles, which, by the way, thank you so much, 49ers, for at least for this Giants fan, making the playoffs watchable now. Now I don't have to hate watch anybody. Like now I'm officially at the point now. I don't care who wins the Super Bowl. Like just not Philly, anyone but Philly. And now that Philly's out and their title defense is officially a disaster and their offense is a disaster, and they're probably going to make all these changes. They're probably going to get rid of AJ Brown. So brings a tear to my eye, a tear of joy to my eye.
You know what I think was like the bow tie on the season and encapsulates it. AJ Brown obviously was not happy on the sidelines. Him and Sirianni went at it. Sirianni said in the post-game press conference he was just trying to get him off the field for a punt. It's like, okay, bud, sure. But he's calling for the ball, and then Jalen Hurts throws a fantastic pass, puts it right in his hands, and like
he dropped it. Yeah,
and Brady said it on the broadcast. He makes that catch 99 times out of 100.
Well, that was the one he didn't.
But to me, like if you're calling for the ball, you gotta bring it there, and that to me is like that's the so. Also, Kevin Petula's play calling, like pretty vanilla.
Yeah. Now it should be a relatively easy fix there, you would think, because like
McDaniel?
Hurts clearly his talent. Like you still have Saquon in his prime. You still have 2 stud receivers. You still have one of the better offensive lines in the NFL, and the strength of their team's their defense. And the defense yesterday wasn't the problem for the Eagles. So, like in theory, there's no reason why they shouldn't bounce back next year with an offensive coordinator who knows what the hell they're doing. So I don't know. Hopefully the Eagles hire an offensive coordinator who does know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, for your sake, of course. But I mean, like, even if you look at how the 49ers got their points yesterday, one of their touchdowns comes off a trick play, essentially. So, like you said, the Eagles defense did their job. But this is a 49ers defense. Like, they said, I think it was like literally down to like their 7th, 8th, and 9th linebackers of the season on the roster that was starting for them. And Eric Kendricks actually had a pretty good game. But, like, you can't, at home, you can't take advantage of that defense. Come on. Come on now. So
that's rough. Speaking of rough, this player and his team probably heading towards a divorce this offseason. Max Crosby with the Las Vegas Raiders.
It would be hysterical if they replaced Micah Parsons with Max Crosby in Dallas. Although I think I would be a good fit. I think he would be a very good Cowboy. I know you don't want to deal with Max Crosby in the NFC East, but I could see that happening.
Yep. We have Dajun Edwards with the Steelers. Obviously, the Steelers have their game tonight against the Houston Texans. I don't really have much more to add on that game other than what we said last week. I think the Texans win and cover that one.
Here's my thing about that. It's a sad game no matter what because it's the last Monday game till September. And I know the Monday night slate's not always great, but at least you can bank on like, all right, nothing else. There's a halfway decent football game on I could watch tonight. No, that goes away after
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah, and sometimes these games are entertaining, and like I think this game will be entertaining from a low scoring standpoint and entertaining from a is this actually Aaron Rodgers' final game standpoint, which I think it will be. But I mean, we shall see.
We
And
shall
I
see.
mean, who knows? Rodgers might go off and play next year with the Vikings or something. Like just follow the Favre circle, follow the Favre career trajectory almost to a T, except Favre never played for the Steelers. Vinny Testaverde here, nice Legends
Ooh,
card there for
that's
yeah.
2-minute drill card. That's a nice one. You can throw that in the pile for me if you don't mind.
Yeah, I probably will. Unfortunately, probably on the Jets Mount Rushmore quarterbacks, as we discussed several weeks ago.
Go check that
And
video out.
I'm sorry.
I said, go check that video out. We did a whole.
Oh yeah, definitely go check it out. And last but not least, Julius Peppers, legend here with the Carolina Panthers, who gave it a valiant effort, I would say, in that Saturday afternoon playoff opener against the LA Rams. They certainly had the lead late and had a chance to steal that game. But Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams, they're inevitable.
So that was the one wild card game I didn't really see any of. I've heard from basically the back half of the third quarter on in the car because it was a family trip to the Sharks Stars game on Saturday, which was fantastic. Sharks rallied from 4-2 to force overtime. And
It must be fun to watch an exciting hockey team.
Dude, it's been a while since I've watched like considering like I moved here just at the after they went to the finals that year. The Rangers at the end of me being in New York, like they were a playoff team, but they were a get out in the first round playoff team. So
that's another disaster, by the way. We can get into that at some point.
So here's the thing, because I have the Sharks right in front of my face, I can ignore just how much of it now Shesterkin. I know they said that voided worst case scenario. Talk more hockey later. We can get into we can get into all three teams because I don't want to get too off track here. But I will say, I think this is the last good week of the year because you're coming off a weekend where there was still like a decent amount of games. You got the Monday night game. Divisional round football is usually really good between you're getting the 8 best remaining teams. Then after that, you're down to 2 games of just overdone preview, and then it's the Super Bowl. And I know like those are great weeks in themselves, but this is the last true good football week of the year.
Absolutely, yeah. You got the 8 best teams in theory playing. So the 2 teams that were on the bye, they'll be hosting on that Saturday, and then obviously the 6 teams that survived this weekend. So it should be good and it should be exciting. It should be a fun Super Bowl, like almost regardless of what the matchup is. So we'll see how it plays out.
Well, for the first time since Bengals Rams, we're going to have 2 completely different opponents out of both conferences. So that'll be nice. Maybe the Rams return. Maybe they get back there and win it again. They certainly did a decent job there, to hold off the Panthers. Panthers a team to watch out for in a weak division next year, but we'll see what the Bucks do and who the Falcons hire and all that. We'll get to our divisional round picks in a bit. We got to do a little 95 score football here. We talk about more of the teams that come up in here. There is some bricking. We actually ended up being okay bricking wise. I was a little concerned there. Not enough to put up the brick alert, but by the way, I opened up a pack of 91 Upper Deck Football. Look at that cool Warren card with the moon in the background like that. They don't make cards like that anymore. Let's see what we got here. We are going to start with the Cleveland Browns and Derek Alexander, who was a decent receiver in his day. He had his run. Let's see here. Nothing to really discuss with the Browns. We've got Henry Ellard, fantastic receiver in his day, pictured there with Washington. Also played a lot with the Rams. And again, as Jared has pointed out on the show, just put the W on that helmet and just that's your look. And then reverse that for your dark. That's it. It's
not complicated, but they make it complicated, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, they really are like some of the nicer jerseys in sports, but why make it easy on yourself? So next up here we got we got Seahawks and 49ers back to back. So I guess we should talk about that game. First up, Rick Meyer, former first overall pick there with the Seahawks, and then at the polar opposite end of the spectrum in terms of success, Jerry Rice.
Yeah, he's certainly one of the greatest of all time, and you also have Jerry Rice. So there you go.
And I feel like that's the quintessential like Jerry Rice picture there of him carrying the ball, looking like he's ready to take off and turn that corner. And yeah, like good luck bringing him down. Fast and strong. But 49ers Seahawks this weekend. This 49ers get a little bit screwed having to go fly back last night, get in late. I know that you get the time advantage coming back, and then they got to go. I know Seattle's only a 2-hour flight, but they got to go play the Seahawks on a short week on Saturday. Bills Broncos will be the other Saturday game. We'll get to that in a bit. But go George Kittle. You know, that's going to be rough to go up there against a Seahawks team that's rested. But, you know, this is something Mike McDonald acknowledged. Can we, those two names are too similar. Can't have guys with similar last names as coaches anymore. Like,
this is why I'm rooting for Mike McDaniel to not get any head coaching jobs this cycle, because I don't want to keep doing this.
But back to Mike McDonald, he said it's tough to beat a team 2 weeks in a row, the same team, and that's essentially what they're doing because they beat them 13-3 week 18 to clinch the top spot. Week off. Now you got the Niners coming to your building. They went up there week 1, and San Francisco won in a little bit of a fluky way week 1. They got a little bit of a fortunate bounce. So, listen, we'll talk more about our picks later, but it's going to be a tough task for the Niners to go into Seattle and win with no Kittle.
I completely agree. There is one caveat to that entire equation, but I'll save that for when we get to the picks.
Absolutely. Now we talk about the Buccaneers. Reggie Roby, rest in peace. Hell of a punter in his day. We see what we got here. We got a rookie card. We got Sherman Williams. He was running back out of Oklahoma. I remember his name. I forget who he played with, but I do remember Sherman Williams. Let's see here. We've got Dan Marino, AFC Dolphins checklist there. And then they use the same exact pose for an insert series, Starstruck, Dan Marino. So there you go. Like, let's just get the bang for our buck here. And same exact pose. One's a checklist. One is for stars and whatever. But hey, it's a Marino card.
The best is if you put those two Dan Marino cards side by side one more time.
Okay, there we go.
So obviously it's the same exact pose, but it's a slightly different angle. Like you can kind of tell it's a slightly different angle. So they clearly used the same photo, the same shot from, two people who were probably standing right next to each other, the two photographers. And you know how it is at these NFL games where there's a billion photographers on the sidelines from NFL films. That's what this looks like here.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I mean, to have him in this, no, I don't blame him doing it. To pull them literally back-to-back cards, it's like, come on, boys, try a little harder. I mean, pictures were available back then. That was not the issue. Still got a few more cards to go in this pack. We will talk a little Buffalo Bills here because there's Steve Tasker, one of the all-time great special teams players. We can say the Bills won in Jacksonville, but Josh Allen won in Jacksonville yesterday, 27-24. Excuse me. Going to be tough for them to go to Denver. Short week as well since they played on Sunday. Not a terribly long flight, Buffalo to Denver, but it is a little bit of travel there. Broncos are going to be rested. We'll talk more about that game later, but more about the Jaguars here than maybe we'll talk Bills later. But they're going to be them and the Texans next year. That's probably going to be a Sunday night or a Monday night game, at least one of them. I mean, those two teams have proven themselves to be legitimate.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I thought the Jaguars played well yesterday for the most part. I mean, they lost to a future Hall of Fame quarterback, which happens, and it's a little unfortunate that we didn't get to see Trevor Lawrence answer that last drive there at the end because the pass was tipped and intercepted. So it kind of is what it is there. But no, I thought they acquitted themselves well. I also thought it was a little bit of irony that the Bills, one of the teams to notoriously vote against the tush push, and that's basically how Buffalo took the lead there at the end.
You know what? If you got a big guy like Josh Allen, just lean into it at this point because if I would have told you in September that Brandon Cooks is going to make a huge play for the Bills in the wild card round, like what would you like? You'd be like, Adam, put the pipe.
Brandon
down.
Cooks is still in the league.
Yeah, maybe put the pipe down. Like it's Brandon Cooks here, but I mean, they've got chemistry. They may as well lean into that as long as they'll ride. They got to go to Denver this week. We'll get into that game a little bit later. Here's Fuad Revez from the Vikings, former kicker. Bert Emanuel from the Falcons there. And then we do hit one of the rookies we wanted to hit. So the Toy Wiz did a good job. We got a Steve McNair rookie card. Air McNair out of Alcorn State.
There you go. Rest in peace to Steve McNair, former MVP.
Yes, that's former MVP, and like, you talk about a guy, it was him and Eddie George and the good defense. That's what those Titans teams were, and they rode that through the playoffs every year. They only get to the Super Bowl once, but they were a tough out every year.
Yeah, and by the way, former co-MVP, and I don't know if we're ever going to see that again, or at least if we are, it's not going to be for a while. So, we kind of got an indicator, by the way, this weekend where the MVP voting might go, because they released the first and second team All Pros, and Matthew Stafford was the first team All Pro at quarterback, while Drake May was the second team. So that might be an indicator, but it also might not be, because if you remember last year, Lamar Jackson was the first team All Pro, while Josh Allen was the second team All Pro at quarterback. Josh Allen won the MVP. So
my vote would go to Stafford. I mean, you said we'll never see it again. Maybe this is the year where there's a co-MVP. If there was a year where you could justify it, this would be a year where you can. Now, I would say it's Stafford, but if they gave him co-MVPs, which would be great talk fodder for a while. But nonetheless, I mean, I think we could. I think it could happen this year, but to me, it's Stafford.
I would agree.
There we go. So there's through our football packs for today, but we got to get to some hockey in a little bit. But first, we got to go through the division round and give our picks for this weekend's games. All right, folks. So looking at last week's picks here, I forgot to do that before we recorded to see how we did. So the over 51.5, I lose by a hook. San Francisco didn't need the points, and Houston will find out tonight. Jared covers the 1.5 with Chicago. He gets the 49ers with the points, and he gets the over. So 3-3 for that man over there. So good job by you. As we are getting ready for a divisional weekend here. Which of these, I know we don't know the matchups yet, but regardless of who wins on Monday Night Football, that's not going to be the one you look forward to most. Which of these, because to me, the one I'm really looking forward to, Bills Broncos is going to be great, but I think Rams Bears could just be like one of those, like we talk about it like years from now. Like that could be a really good.
It just in terms of like which will be the best game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rams Bears definitely has potential to be the most exciting game. I think 49ers Seahawks will be a defensive slugfest once again. And there's certainly intrigue with Bills Broncos, and when seeing if Bo Nix is ready for the big time. So it's certainly an interesting slate there. And then whatever happens between the Texans and Steelers going to Foxborough for what I assume will be the Sunday night game, but who knows? Maybe it won't be.
So right now we know when the games are going to be. We know which days they're going to be.
One day, yeah.
We just don't know the times, but you can. We'll, as we go through, we'll figure it out. So before we get to the games on the board, let's talk about the possibilities. The Patriots, who they're going to play. They either get the Texans or the Steelers. I think either whoever wins tonight, I would probably lean under, depending on the number, just off the top of my head. With the spread, I would be more inclined for to lay it with the Patriots against the Steelers, but to take the points with the Texans would be my lean. Again, it depends on the numbers, but just off the possible matchups, that's how I would play it.
I think I would take the points with whoever wins tonight against the Patriots. I didn't like what I saw from the Patriots offense last night, and I don't think the Chargers defense is all that great, to be honest. So especially if it's a team like the Texans, where they have a case for having the best defense in the league and certainly one of the best pass rushes in the league. I think that's a situation where I would grab the points with Houston. I wouldn't be surprised if they found a way to win the game outright.
So Houston, I'm with you. Take the points. Pittsburgh, I think they could cover that. I think the Patriots can maybe move it on that defense a little bit, as the Steelers are shown. So that's the possible, and that's going to be a Sunday game. My prediction would be if it's Patriots Texans, they would get that earlier window. If it's Patriots Steelers as a potential Aaron Rodgers last game, they'd probably get the late window and put the Rams Bears in the earlier one on Sunday. But let's get to the Saturday games first. So one of these will go first. 49ers Seahawks or Bills Broncos. I think they would do 49ers Seahawks early and save the Bills Broncos, but I could be wrong. Let's talk 49ers Seahawks first. Seahawks 7-point favorites. Totals 45.5. listen, I understand it's a big, tall task for the Niners to walk in there without, the guy who helps immensely with run blocking and is one of the top targets for Purdy. I think 7's a pretty big number. I know it's a defense that maybe gets picked apart, but it's still Sam Darnold. And I know hey, he's proving all the doubters wrong. Like, what else does he got to do after he did in Minnesota last year and now Seattle this year? But I think this is a big Sam Darnold prove it spot. Get to the conference championship game. So, but I still think I think the 49ers will give it a really good effort, keep it close enough. I'm going to take the Niners with the points here. I would lean under, but this also strikes me as one of those games that all of a sudden just offenses go off. Jackson Smith and Jigba has a big day. Demarcus Robinson had a huge day against the Eagles defense. So I'm going to stay away from the total, but I would take the Niners with the points.
I'm going to go the opposite of you. Not in terms of laying the points with Seattle, but I'm going to go the under. I feel pretty confident about that, it going under 45.5. In part because of what you were just saying, in part because we literally just saw this game a few weeks ago, and frankly, in part because I don't trust Sam Darnold in a big spot, and I'm probably never going to trust him until I see him hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. It just kind of is what it is with him. Once you're a Jet, you're always a Jet, right? So he's always going to have that stank attached to him. I think he's always going to see ghosts as far as I'm concerned, but. I lean towards the under there. I would play the under there, and if I were going to lean one side or the other in terms of the number, I'd probably take the points with the Niners, just because I think it's just such a big number. But I think Seattle wins, but I'm going to obviously take the under here.
For what it's worth, week 1 was 17-13 and then 13-3 in week 18. So both games easily clear this total. But up to 45.5 there. So we'll see what happens.
I would bet the under now, by the way, because that number is going to go down. That's going to be closer to 42.5 by the time they kick.
Completely agree. Now, again, I would lean under, but I could see it somehow turning into a shoot. That's why I don't like it. I stay away. So I got the Niners with the points. Jared's got the under there. We move on to the other Saturday game, the Bills at the Broncos, which the more I think about it, I think they're going to put that one first, and then Niners Seahawks at night. The total there is 46.5. Bills 1.5 road favorites there in Denver. So a lot of respect there for Josh Allen, the Josh Allen led Bills. Listen, they earned that victory. I think Jacksonville's for real. I think they're a team that's they were 13-4 this year. I don't think they're going to plummet to 9-8 next year. They're a double-digit win team. So impressive victory for the Bills there. To make them road favorites, I mean, unless they are able to just play complete ball control with James Cook, just control the clock and just keep. I don't know what you think it would benefit Buffalo more to keep the low scoring or to try and get into a shootout with them.
I think it would benefit Buffalo to try to get into a shootout, but I don't know if he can get into a shootout with against this Broncos defense.
Yeah, I'm going to try and make a pick from every game here. I think I would probably lean over 46.5. Sides, I'm staying away. For my buddy Pete, I would like to see the Bills win and get to the Super Bowl. I would have liked Buffalo probably going to New England better than I would have liked them going to Denver. But yeah, I would lean over, but I'm probably staying away from this one.
I think, considering what the Broncos have done over the entire course of the season, I think this is a disrespectful line to the 1 seed.
Agreed.
Denver should be favored in this game.
I agree.
The fact that they're not favored in this game is pretty ridiculous, because I think they have a legitimate chance to win the game. So rather than take the 1.5, I would just play this one in the money line. I think the Broncos win the game, so I would take the plus 102 there.
And that's another one. You talked about that total in the Niners Seahawks game that's going to be going down. That's another one. I don't think the Broncos are going to have a 1.5 for very long. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are, like you said, are you kidding me? How are they 1.5 home dogs with a week off against the Buffalo team that we've essentially, most of us agree, they go as Josh Allen and James Cook go, and that's it. The defense is average. So, yeah. But we'll see how that one goes there. As those are the 2 Saturday games. Now, the one Sunday game we know for sure, or the matchup is, we know the Patriots will play the winner of tonight's game also on Sunday. The Rams at the Bears. Right now, Rams 3.5-point road favorites, total 51.5. I think the Rams win, but the Bears cover.
Yep.
And in terms of the total, the weather's supposed right now. The early forecast is like, as they say in Brooklyn, it's going to be brick in Chicago on Saturday night. It's going to be like down to like high teens, I think, with the wind chill, or maybe even single digits. I don't know if there's snow in the forecast. Maybe you get a little flurries like we saw on Saturday night against Green Bay. The other reason why I would take the Rams, that I think the Rams win, but the Bears cover, is the Bears have a lot of that late game magic. So even if they don't pull off the comeback, I feel like they would put themselves within striking distance. And that hook there at 3.5, I think, makes a difference. Because of the weather forecast, I'd probably go under. But yeah, that's my take on that game. But that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, I would agree on the under. I think I'm also going to grab the 3.5 points with Chicago for the same thought process. And I think this is another one of those lines that's just a little bit disrespectful, to the Bears.
We've called them frauds in the past, but they're not frauds. They're not.
At some point, you got to acknowledge that like the team's actually kind of good. So, and like, a really good comeback win on Saturday night against the Packers and doing what they did there. And and that's gonna be a tough environment to play in. Especially you mentioned the elements there, and the Rams coming in from Southern California and playing in the cold and wind of Chicago, and
especially if that ends up in the later slot too.
Right. So, no, I agree with you. I would grab the 3.5 because it's 3.5. And you get that extra hook there. I think they want you to take the Bears there, but I'm also dumb, so I'm just going to do it. So there you go.
Here's the thing. Like, there are things that makes teams dangerous in the playoffs. We've talked about, the Texans defense, that can, defenses travel in the playoffs and that can carry you. But when you're a team like the Bears, like, it's not a fluke anymore. They have this never say die thing about them. It doesn't matter. It's not like, oh, it's, within a 1-possession game, look out. Like, there are a lot of people that thought that game was over. The Packers were going to walk out of there. They were going to book their trip to Seattle, and they've got the coach quarterback combo is working. Ben Johnson, probably one of the best hires we've seen. Him and Liam Cohen, probably two of the best hires we've seen. I don't count the Vrabel hiring because that was the Titans made a stupid mistake, and the Patriots were more than happy to bring one of their own back. So, like, to me, that's a layup hire. Like, taking a chance on a coordinator like Liam Cohen, taking a chance on a coordinator, two of the better hires in a long time. So, to recap here, we talked about, the potential matchups. We both agree Texans with the points if they advance. And then on the 49ers on Saturday, I like the 49ers with the points. Jared likes the under. We both feel that the Broncos line is very disrespectful. He's going to take the Broncos on the money line, plus 102. I like the over 46.5. And then in the last game, we both like the Bears to cover, but the Rams to win. And we both like the under. Is there anything I'm missing here? Which line do you feel like is more disrespectful, Denver's or Chicago's? I would say Denver's.
Denver, I would say. Yeah, 100%.
Now, that's our football coverage today, but we still got plenty of time to talk some hockey here as we get to the 2025-26 Upper Deck Artifacts. We'll open. We got these are these are blaster packs. They're 4-card each. We'll open 3 of these packs. I'll just say this about the Rangers quickly. This is a lost season. Just lean into the fact that this season's lost. Whatever you want to deal at the deadline, deal it at the deadline. Like, I'm going to be seeing them when they come play the Sharks on the 23rd. I expect it. The way the Sharks are playing right now, I know they just got the doors beat off them by Vegas last night. It would be nice if they could beat Vegas at some point. That's 11 in a row for Vegas over San Jose. But there's not a lot of reasons to be positive for the New York Rangers right now. And maybe we'll get to the Devils here in a second.
We'll get to the Devils in a second. I don't even know where you go if you're the Rangers, because
speaking of,
yeah, I mean, you have Lafreniere, who's
a bust. He's a bust.
He's mid. Like, he's not a number 1 overall guy. If they redrafted that draft, he'd go like 15th, and that would be fine. But like, he went number 1, so it kind of is what it is there. But like, yeah, they'll probably trade Panarin because it doesn't sound like they want to sign him long term. But like, that's a big number to move in the season where nobody has cap space, and now you can't do that thing anymore where teams retain 25%. So like, yeah, the Rangers could eat half of it, but like they're gonna have to get creative to find a way to move him, and he's got no move as well, so he's gonna pick his destination.
I think, and this is a team that I didn't believe is real, but they're still hanging around the top of a very mid division, the Detroit Red Wings in the Atlantic. If they would decide, like, hey, enough's enough, we got to get back to the playoffs here, I could see them reuniting Panarin and Kane just to get them back in the playoffs, just to get some buzz going in Detroit again. Again, I know you said you got to be creative, but Panarin is a guy that if you make him a second line winger on a team that's making a push for a cup, that's trying to keep up with the Colorados and Dallases of the world, he's a difference maker, and I think somebody will find a way to eat that if they think they can make it happen. So
yeah, I'm looking at the Rangers cap friendly right now. The Puckpedia page, looking at the contracts. Their only other pending UFA is, aside from Jonathan Quick, who, I guess they could probably get something from him if they wanted to move him. But Carson Soucy, he's a big defenseman, so I'm guessing somebody would take him. But you're not getting more than like a third round pick for him or something.
Yeah, but you know what? People are like, oh, it's only a mid round pick, but a lot of times if you accumulate those mid round picks and you make them part of a package to move up for the thing. So
yeah,
I'm always, even if it's like a 6th round pick, whatever. It's a potentially movable asset for a guy that was walking away in a month and a half. So I'm always okay with that. But yeah, the Rangers just sell, but at a certain point, like you know what the problem is Chris Drury is friends with ownership, and James Dolan is one of these owners where he cannot separate work from friendship. If he likes you as a person, you're gonna have to make him fire him. It has to be blatantly obvious that he has to go. Chris Drury stinks as a GM. It's time to stop pretending otherwise.
I mean, the one good thing he's done as a GM is he's found a way to get out of problematic contracts. But even then, like, Trouba's been mostly good this year in Anaheim, and like Kreider's had a resurgence this year. Like, who could have seen that coming? So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I don't think Chris Drury is anything special, but you know what? Can I take this moment to get into my devil's diatribe here?
Absolutely. Let's do
as bad as Chris Drury is, at least he's willing to be the asshole to kind of make things happen,
which I respect.
Tom Fitzgerald's not willing to do anything to make anything happen because he's got to be the laziest GM in the league. Like, he does all his work in the summer and then he hibernates throughout the entire season. And this
wakes up at the trade deadline like, oh, that was a busy deadline.
Oh yeah, he'll wake up the trade deadline. He'll make the random like Cody Glass trade. But other than that, like, he's not going to do it. Like, this is the 3rd season out of the last 4 where like the season is just kind of like spiraled out of control for the Devils. And this is literally the Simpsons meme with Ned's parents when they're seeing the shrink about Ned's behavior, and his parents are like, "We've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas." The Devils have tried nothing. They haven't fired the GM. They haven't fired the coach. They haven't made a trade. They haven't made a trade in part because Tom Fitzgerald's capped the goddamn team app, and they were already playing in long-term IR. And the only reason they got bailed out of that with the whole Jonathan Kovacevic thing is Stefan Nason suffered an injury where he needs knee surgery. He's probably going to miss the rest of the year. And what's his face? Zach McEwen also suffered a knee injury. So it's like, all right, I guess I could just shift that money from LTIR into the active roster and move those guys there, and there you go. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe Fitz actually finally did something by handling that, but they haven't made a trade. They haven't tried calling anybody up. It's not like they have a prospect right now in the minor leagues who's actually playing well for once. So they're literally just doing nothing except losing games. They just lose games now. That's all they do. Every time they go out there, they lose the game. They lose the game, and it doesn't matter how. And they do it in all sorts of different manners. And Fitzgerald's got to go. The Devils need to clean house in terms of their brain trust behind the scenes and how they operate. And it starts with Fitzgerald. It's probably going to cost Sheldon Keefe his job too, which I kind of feel bad for because I actually think he's a good coach. I just think he has shit to work with on this roster. But Fitzgerald's got to go. They got to get rid of all the AGMs. They need to overhaul the scouting department and just do a better job of just drafting players that can actually play in the league, because they've missed on so many goddamn draft picks that this is part of the reason why they're chasing. Like part of the reason why they couldn't make the Quinn Hughes trade was because they took Alexander Holtz over Marco Rossi and they took Anton Silyev over Zeev Buliam. Well, guess what? Guess who was in the Quinn Hughes trade from Minnesota to Vancouver? It was Marco Rossi and Steve William. It's like, you don't think if you would have had those guys available to trade, you might have been able to actually do something and land one of the best defensemen in the league, who by the way, is the brother of, two of the guys on your team who they clearly want to play with. So that entire situation's fucked. And that's before you get to the whole Dougie Hamilton thing.
I was going to say, you said he doesn't try to make a trade, but when he does, Dougie's like, no, sorry, I'm not letting that happen. Which, I know there's some Sharks fans that are like, oh, he would be a nice upgrade for the blue line and stuff like that. I think, and he would be, but I don't know, Mike Greer shouldn't pay a whole lot for Hamilton either. Cause like he gets hurt, it's, yes, he would help the Sharks blue line, but like, he's not going to be like build the blue line around this guy to make the playoff, but like, he's not that guy. And I hope
no, he's not. He hasn't been good this year. And I hate using this term because I generally think the players try hard. Dougie Hamilton is checked out. Like that's the best way I could describe it. Is like if you watch the games, he looks like a player who's totally checked out. Like his fancy stats will look good because he'll fire pucks in the general direction.
Good fantasy defense.
Right. But he's got 10 points in 40 games, and he's being paid $9 million to be an offensive defenseman. And the only thing that's offensive is his actual play on the ice this year. So the entire thing's a mess. And if I were the Sharks, I wouldn't want his $9 million on the books either. I'd want the Devils to retain a portion of that.
Here's the thing. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to bring, like, I'm sure like coming into a situation in a young locker room where they never say die comeback kids right now, the NHL, and they're in a playoff spot and they could very easily get a wild card spot or maybe even finish third in that division if they keep playing well. The goal Askarov needs to be a little bit better, but I don't know if I want to bring that energy into the locker room.
No, you don't. And like, with Hamilton, like, I don't blame him for using his no trade clause. Like, I never get on the players for like exercising like the trade protection that they get negotiating their contracts. Like, Dougie Hamilton, has a wife.
It's the GM's job to make sure there's not too much of that where it hampers the, like, you got to pick and choose who gets those privileges. You can't just hand it out to everybody like it's candy.
Correct. And that's what the Devils have done. They've handed them out like it's condoms at Olympic Village. That's what they've done with the no trade clauses. And
safe sex, everyone.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's put the Devils in the position whether they are now. And I don't see, I think they'll be able to clean up their cap, but the problem is they got to get the GM out of there who's built this team. Like, he's done enough to sort of ruin this team. And, it's infuriating for a team that was in a situation where the Devils were a couple years ago, where they win that playoff series against the Rangers and they have a relatively clean cap sheet. And it's like, oh, well, the sky's the limit for this team. And then you see the team that he's built ever since and how they've gotten away from that.
He's fumbled it. He had a chance to build and he sometimes, like, you're like, oh, I want my guys to develop. Sometimes you got to strike while the iron's hot, and he has not. And now, to put a wrap on this conversation, the best hockey team in the New York tri-state area is the New York Islanders. And here's the thing: this doesn't look like a flash in the pan. Amazing when you get rid of, I don't want to say bad management, Lou Lamoriello, but the game has passed him by. Put a politer spin on that. Patrick Waugh.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, the Islanders don't look like a flash in the pan. They look like they're here to stay. They look like they're going to get one of the top 3 spots in the Metropolitan Division come playoff time. And I think this is the beginning of an Islanders team that's going to start being in the top 3 in the Metropolitan for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't completely buy the Islanders long term in part because they still have an older forward group and
the blue line. I get it, but
I mean, they got the goalie, and obviously Schaefer is the real deal on the blue line. So there you go. And I think that's a big part of the reason why they've sort of outkicked their coverages here. And Barzal, by the way, having a really good year.
He's having a stellar season.
Yeah. So
and so is Bo Horvat. Bo Horvat, he's having a really good year too. I mean, he made Team Canada for the Olympics. That's not a name that people had as a lock to make it, and he's there. Speaking of defenseman, Victor Hedman there. Let's move up to Winnipeg, who beat the Devils last night. They've actually won 2 in a row now. Mark Scheifele. And then we wrap the first pack with my fantasy bounce back candidate. You can go see which other ones at Total Hockey Now. Clayton Keller in the second half, who's on pace to have his first sub 30 goal season since 21, 22, I want to say.
good for him.
once he gets Logan Cooley back, all's going to be okay. There's another month for that. So, what do we got here? Pack number 2. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so first up, Alex Tuck for the Sabres. They're a wagon right now. I don't know if they make the playoffs. I feel like eventually the pendulum will swing the other way, but it looks like they won't be like a laughing stock anymore. Looks like things have maybe started to turn a corner there in Western New York.
Devils fans are in it deep when they're like, "Oh God, I wish we had Lindy Ruff back." Right? I'm not saying that, but like, because Lindy Ruff was not a good coach with the Devils, and I think this Buffalo thing is mostly smoke and mirrors. But yeah, but speaking of teams doing something, Buffalo fired their GM, actually got a spark out of it. It's like, what a novel concept. Like the Maple Leafs fire an assistant coach. It's like, oh, you're actually allowed to do that. It's like, do the Devils do that to try to turn their season around? No, they don't. And that's why the Devils are in the position they're in, because they have shit management.
And I know, like you said, like, all right, Dougie Hamilton's maybe playing a little uninspired right now, but you know what? If you're coming into an environment where everything you're saying right now is true, I know you're professionally making $9 million a year and all that. I'm not making excuses for him, but like, I'm sure that there's the sentiments in the locker room are the same. And obviously nobody wants to be the guy to be moved, but it's like something's got to give and nobody's doing anything. We got Brock Faber from the Minnesota Wild there. Now with Quinn Hughes in town, he can kind of drop to that second pairing and grow his game a little bit more. And Minnesota now has a deep blue line to take on a team like the Colorado Avalanche. Devin Taves is hurt, and then we got a Nathan McKinnon parallel there.
All very nice cards of good players on good hockey teams, and I wish my team was a good hockey team right now. I'm so annoyed right now about this entire Devil situation.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, you look at the NHL, and it's like it's Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, and then there's like the rest of the league. Like, and this is something I talked about on Total Hockey Now. If you want to go watch it, they have to change. This has to be the year where a playoff format changes, because you're going to have, of the 3 best teams in the NHL, one of them is for sure going to be gone by the time you get to the conference finals, and one of them is going to be out in the first round. And it's just like, come on, man, what are we doing? Like, it's silly. Like, Garrett, here we go, Dallas. Well, another team. Like, come on now.
They're not going to change that until Gary retires, because Gary is just obsessed with this stupid playoff bracket format.
But you could,
I guess Gary watched an NCAA tournament game once, and it's like, oh, they have a bracket, and people like filling out things.
And here's the thing, though, you could, if you wanted the balance of a bracket and a true seeding, you do a 1 through 8, but you don't reseed, because that's how the NBA used to do it before they had the 7 through 10 kind of thing. That's the compromise. Like, all right, fine. And I would like to reseed every round. I feel like the team that's earned the top spots deserve to have the quote unquote easiest paths, but you still have a bracket, but you start the playoffs off with much truer matchups for what they deserve versus the second and third best teams in the league playing in the first round. You don't need more excitement in the first round. The first round is fantastic. You need those better matchups when there's only 4 matchups or 2 matchups. Like, come on now. Let's see here. We got the Panthers, Anton Lundell, taking over that top spot in Florida while Barkov is hurt. Another ice blue parallel here, JT Compher in Detroit. And we wrap it up with one of the reasons why Buffalo is maybe finally turning it around, Mr. Rasmus Dahlin.
Yeah, good job by Rasmus Dahlin and good job by the Sabres.
Now, normally when you have a thick boy like you pulled earlier, pull of the day is easy. But are we going to say a Matthew Wright patch card is going to beat everything? I mean, the problem is, like, I mean, it's either a Nathan McKinnon parallel or a Steve McNair rookie. So, like, I don't know. I still think you take it, but
no, I would go with that Justin Jefferson Chrome card.
Get the pull of the day. Congratulations. Means absolutely nothing. But all right, we did divisional weekend. We talked NHL. Jared got some stuff off his chest. I got some stuff off my chest. I will say it's been. I've been to 4 Sharks games this year. It has been a really good time just watching a youthful, energetic hockey team that with a rising star like Macklin Celebrini.
Yeah,
like Crosby requested to play with him at the Olympics. Like, when you if you're up late, start watching Sharks games. And Celebrini's a 200-foot player. Like, he's got some room to develop the back end of his game, but he back checks. That guy flies back into the zone like a center should. Like, he's not a flat. He's the real deal. He's not going to have a slump next year, or he's here to stay.
There's nothing more fun in sports than watching like a fun young team on the rise and starting to put all the pieces together. And like you're starting to see that with the Sharks, where maybe they're not quite good yet, but they're on their way. And you're finally seeing like the fruits of what is a years long rebuild where they tore it down and they've accumulated all the draft capital and they're starting to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. Conversely, there's nothing worse than watching a team with expectations continually step on rakes.
And the thing is, like, when we talked about the NHL going into the season in the Metropolitan Division, the conversation was like, all right, if Carolina and Jersey are your top two, how they finish will depend on Jack Hughes' health. Probably Carolina 1, Jersey 2. But Jersey will have one of those top 3 playoff spots in the Metro. And you look at the Metropolitan Division right now, the Rangers stink. Devils stink. Columbus wasn't playing well. They stink, but they've been playing better lately. Pittsburgh, goaltending problems. You go bring in Stu Skinner for practically nothing, and look what happened. Stu Skinner is playing. I know he lost 1-0 yesterday, but I don't think the guy's let in more than a goal in like 4 or 5 straight starts. Like, he's playing well for Pittsburgh. Philly's not a great team, but they're a tough out. They're they play tough. They're in better shape. The Capitals are a decent team. But it's basically Carolina, the Islanders, the Capitals, and that's it.
Can we end this show?
We sure can. Now, if you want more of what Jared was talking about, coverage with the Devils and impassioned rants and all that good stuff, all about thejersey.com. It's where you'll find all his quality Devils work. Also, YouTube at Jared Moore Poker if you're a fan of Hold'em, and good quality production on those shorts that he's, I think, a month ahead on finally. RipNRiff at gmail.com if you want to reach out to the show. And of course, me with myself and at Ant Rivera 86 and at Fuzzy Chris 91 Thursdays, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific there for some of the better hockey. We preview the slates, talk fantasy hockey, all that good stuff. But that does it. This edition of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, follow, comment. We love all that stuff. For at Mr. Jared Moore, and for my dog that's wandering the bedroom right now, you can see him right there in my office, I should say. I'm Adam Bernard at Pucking Thoughts. Back with you next time on an all-new episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel.